So before we start today's material, just a quick mention regarding official Java library. Okay, if you recall last week, we studied that point 2D. At that point, I mentioned that's from Java FX package. That basically is from Java FX geometry package. And then we have this point 2D class. And basically, you can find all of the detailed documentation online for reference, because otherwise there is no way you can remember all the detailed information about this class, etc. And so Oracle has the official Java library information. So every class, okay, you can find it here, the official one from the library. So for the point 2D, you have this name and the detailed information, and later you can also say, okay, it's describe about the detailed class information. And like the constructor, the method, is it like add method, like the distance method, if you record distance, different kind of distance method, is it, and the equal method. Oh, regarding this, if you take a look, and anyway, both of these two distance method, they are instance method. And these two instance method, if you take a close look, the parameter list is different. That the first one has two double parameters. The second one has a point 2D reference as a parameter. So these two are different. So regarding this kind of concept, so this is method, we call it with the same name. Same name, but we call it different with different signature. So signature means parameter list, and the return type. So this can be called signatures. So basically, these two instances, they have exactly the same name, but different parameters. The return type the same. Okay. So this kind of concept, because otherwise, generally speaking, when you define a method, you shouldn't define the same name. Is it? But this is allowed because they have different signature. So this is legal. It's allowed. And this kind of scenario, we call it function overloading, method overloading. Okay, because later on for OOP, we will learn another word. It's a little bit of some similarity, but not, okay. So this concept is called overloading. Okay, function overloading, method overloading. So always keep that in mind. But in a Java class, you cannot have two methods define exactly the same name and the same signature. Then that's cause a duplicate definition error. Okay, so that's not legal, but this is legal because it's function overloading. Anywhere we also learned the function overloading, if you recall constructors, is that we have different types of construct. So far we learned two types. The default one, so without a parameter. Is it an explicit one? It has parameters. So why it's allowed? That's because overloading. Okay, so that's the concept here. So anyway, so in this official document, you can like midpoint that it also gives us, and the two strings. So anyway, this official document gave you some detailed information, including a detailed explanation about each method. So it will be very helpful. Okay. Okay, then today we will try to finish our last example in this unit. And for this example, a couple of concepts we will learn. The first one is regarding some wrapper class in Java, okay, like the integer. Be careful, okay, so here is capitalized and the whole word integer. And this is a class. It's a class. This is different, okay, so it's different from int. Okay, from this is primary data type. Okay, this is a class, so it's a reference type. Reference type. So it's a represent a class. A class. Okay, and also be careful. Just like, so this integer class is immutable. Okay, immutable. And the previous we also learned string is also immutable. What does immutable mean? So let's recall that we learned class. So for class method, we learned constructors. And generally speaking, we have get method and the set method. Get method, we also call it accessors. And the set, we call it mutators. That's it. So if it's immutable, then what you all think about? So should we have all these three type of methods? If it's immutable, so what do you think? Should an immutable class has a set method? Has a mutator? Anyone knows the answer?
No.
Yes, very good. So you shouldn't. Is it because mutator, you change it? Is it you reassign it? So you're supposed not to have any set method. Okay, always keep that in mind. So this integer is a wrapper class, okay, and it's immutable. And why do we need this? It's because in Java collection, later on we will learn the containers can only take reference type. It will not be able to take a primitive type. Okay, so that's why we need this reference type wrapper class. So that's let's take a look first. How do we use it? Okay. So this integer is primitive number. That, and I call new integer. And this x, then the type is integer. Okay, so then let me ask you a question. So x related with this new integer 100. So where it should be, it's on stack memory or heap memory? Where do you think it hold that 100? So we have stack memory We have heap memory. Is it? So stack, you have the main method, and here is that X. So what do you think that 100 should be? 100 itself is still a number, is it? Based on what we learned. Suppose here I have another one, integer I is 100. So where this 100 is, where I is.
In stack?
Yeah, I is on stack, because it has that 100. Then how about X? How about X? X is what? Just be careful here. Whenever you do new, what does it mean? It means what? Whenever you have new, that means it's allocate memory on heap. Okay, on heap. So heap needs some memory block. So the memory block is going to hold that 100. And it's some other thing. There's some other stuff, not just 100. Okay, there's some other stuff there. But anyway, it's some memory block. So it's kind of like you get a new room. That new room will store that 100. Okay, so be careful. This is a whole block for X, not just that 100 number. Okay, and also integer. An integer is 4 bytes. Yeah, it's 4 bytes. Yeah, so it's 32 bits. So it will take at least, okay, there's some other stuff, okay, at least 32 bits. So 4 bytes block of memory here. That's for X. Okay, that's for X. So keep this in mind. So this is regarding some memory block. And this is a reference. It has a value of 100. And you can also do this. You can just do integer. That's also allowed. X equals 100. Then you may see the right side is a primitive number. And the left side is reference type of variable. Then the assignment shouldn't work logically, is it? Based on the program, that the left side, right side, the type should be the same, but here it's different, is it? But how that's working? So basically in Java, why it is allowed, whenever you do this, it's automatically equivalent to you call new integer 100. It's skip this part. We call this concept auto boxing. Okay, so internally it still has new integer. So it's still go to a heap to have that memory block. Have that memory block. So keep this in mind. Okay, so this is different from you do this. There is no heap memory allocation for I. Okay, be careful. But for X, there is a memory allocation for X. And then a lot of time you may say, oh, X is an integer, then it's an integer reference, then I can not do some calculation directly, is it? Yeah, so because if you want to do arithmetic operation, you still need integer. Is it a primitive type? So for integer class, it has a method called initial value or integer value. So this will convert reference type of that 100 to primitive value 100. Okay, so be careful. And here we try to call this function called modify x. Okay, then let's see if x is going to be modified. And we will say it's not to be able to be modified. Let's see what modify that x is. So here is the method. Is it the parameter type is what? Is integer. So it's a wrapper class. Then internally you do this, new I equals to negative 100. Okay, 100. And if we take a look at the running result. So here is a running result. After the running result, you can see x is still 100. It's not changed. So why is it? Why it's not changed? And if you recall, we said this is what? Immutable. Okay, immutable. And basically what over here means what? Means I equals new integer negative 100. So this is auto boxing. So basically over here we have that main stack memory, is it? And here we have the heap memory. Then we have that x, we have that 100 memory block, is it? And then here we have this I, is it? This I, and this I initially it's referenced to here. Is it initially? You pass in that 100 to it. It takes this box. But then later on, here, basically you recreate a new block. New block 100. So it won't point to the old box, it's point to this new box. Okay, oh, this is negative 100. It point to this new box. And where x point? X still point to 100 box, is it? So that's why basically you can see this box is going to be just left here and no reference anymore after you complete call this modify I method. So when the end of the method reaches, then no more reference. Okay, no more reference. No more reference, what's going to happen? So basically, and just think about if you keep doing this, if you have a loop doing this, it's going to keep allocate box. Is it to keep allocating? So that's not recommended. It's keep allocating box memory. Is it? And anyway, so this box, after you run this method, finish complete execution of the method, it's going to be no one can reference it. So Java has what? Garbage collection. So garbage collection will take care of that. If there is no garbage collection, if you keep doing this using a big loop, then it will keep allocate memory. So then that can cause memory leak. But in Java, we don't need to worry That is because it has garbage collection, okay? But anyway, even that's not a good design, okay? Because it wastes a lot of memory, your heap memory. It can cause your heap memory run out, okay? So anyway, so that won't work. That we just saw that. Let's get back here. And we saw this won't work. And this once again prove what? It proves. So integer is immutable. Is immutable, okay? Because there is also no set method for you to change the value, okay? And if you want to do the assignment, then it's auto boxing, create a new object. Is it? Then it changes the reference point. Okay, so that's regarding immutable class concept. And you can also change. So this is a string number. String formatting, is it because we have double quotation, 200. So this is string version of 200. Is it? And if you want to convert it to integer type, there is a method called integer.value of. Then it will return an integer object. Okay, here I call integer dot. What is this integer dot? And here you call x dot int value. So let me ask you, we should already know the difference between these two methods. So this int value and this value of, what's the difference between these two methods? So who can identify?
Integer.value of is a class method, and x.int_value is an instance method.
Very, very good. Okay, so the difference, this is class method, very good. This is what? This is instance method. Yes, very good. So that's the difference between these two, okay? And for integer and for the string version, is it? And you can also get the. We can also use get a primitive number. Then it's this integer, this class method again. You can call class method parse int, plug in string version, and it can give you the primitive value so that you can do mathematics calculation. Okay. So here's just some something related with this big integer. And what next? Let's see. Over here, we have an integer array. This integer array just has one element. And that single element takes us 200. Is it? And then we said we are going to have call a function called the modify array and plug in. This array is plugged in. Is it? Then let's see if the value get changed. Is it updated? Let's first take a look at the result. Yeah, looks like the result did get modified from 200 change it to 999. Is it? So let's see what that method looks like. So the method, so this time it's an array. Array is also reference type. Reference type. And this time you just assign 999 to this array element. So this time it works. Okay, this time it works. So always keep in mind. If you recall previously, we also explained that twice with the previous classes example regarding passing array, then it can change the reference. So this one we see it's get change. And then you may ask, is it, so this is regarding primitive value of array. Array is a reference, is it? But what array hold is a primitive value. Okay, the next example shows we also have an array, but this time this array is this big integer, this wrapper class integer. And the first element is assigned to 200, is it? Yes, it's 200. And then we call another method called modify integer array. And then we want to see if the value got changed. Is it supposed to be 200? Okay, keep that in mind. Then let's see. Yeah, the result you can see it's negative 999. So it does change. So let's take a look again. So this time, modify it. So the array type is a wrapper class. Okay, it's not a primitive, it's a wrapper class. Then you assign this to the first element of the array. This also involves auto boxing. But it works, is it? Because what this time is just the array reference point to this new box. Okay, but whatever you plug in, it's still point to that initial array box. So that's why this is going to work, but this won't work. Okay, so be careful about the difference. Because over here, it's 2 levels of reference. 2 levels of reference, okay. So that's still working, okay. So we discussed the example, even with this big integer, it's still working, okay. And let's temporarily stop sharing here and take a look at that integer class. So let's go back to Java official document. Okay, take a quick look about this integer class. Integer from Java language package. Okay, .lang is a language package. And this class, later on, we will see. And this class is called a final class. So basically it cannot be changed. Okay, so that's why it's immutable, or not immutable, and it's not to be inherited. Okay, and if we take a look, here is a list of the fields, and all the fields are class variables. And the constructor take both primitive value and the string value, etc. And what we want to see, yes, over here, if you take a look, so like the float value, this is just a regular instance method. So instance method, then you need to have an object associated with it, okay? Like this get integer, it is what? It's a class method. So for class method, you don't need a object to be associated with it to call this method. And then what we else we have? Yeah, we also have this integer value. Is it? And the parse integer, it's what? It's a class method. Okay, so there are a lot of methods regarding this integer class. And if you take a close look, each one of it, you will see there is no mutator. Okay, it's all like a get method. Okay, so that's regarding that wrapper integer class. Okay, next let's see. here regarding string. Okay, we already very familiar with the string. So this is the string S1, so it's a reference object. So basically this is what? This is auto boxing also. So it's equivalent to you call new string with the hello world. Okay, with this. And here we try to do concatenation S1. And we will see if S1 can be changed. And previously we said string is immutable, is it? And let's see. So S1 is supposed to be hello world. And if you take a look, the result is still hello world, because it didn't get changed. We can take a look at that function, concatenate one function. So here is that concatenate one function. It passes in with S1, is it? And what over here says is, okay, S1 append with welcome, is it? Why this won't change? It's similar as I previously explained, is it? Because, so here is what initially, I forgot what the in main that variable is, but anyway, initially it has that hello world. Hello world, is it? And what does this mean? This means there is a new box called hello world welcome. Okay, so here this S1 is going to point to this one. Okay, but the original, that other S, maybe S, is it in main? In main, it's still referenced here. S1 initially referenced here, but when you do this auto boxing, it's going to be reassigned to this new box. That's why S1 is changed, but the original S is not, it's still referenced to the same box, and you didn't change it, whatever in the box. So that's why this won't work, okay? So that's regarding string. So string class is immutable. If string class is immutable, then that's cause a lot of hassles that if we want to expand the string. So in Java, there are two other classes that can help you to do modification. One is called StringBuilder. The other is called StringBuffer, okay? And this two has a lot of similarity. The difference between these two is just StringBuilder is not thread safe. We don't need to worry, okay? But so it doesn't guarantee synchronization. And the other one, StringBuffer, it's thread safe. It's guaranteed synchronization. So then let's take a look. So for StringBuilder, and you can pass in with a string. So over here to create a StringBuilder object. And then we can call concatenate. And we just pass in S2, is it? Then let's see if S2 changed, is it? And first, let's take a look at the concatenate 2, what it looks like. If you take a look what a concatenate 2, so it's pass in with S2, is it? And it's what? It works on the S2 object. It's called append, adds welcome. So the idea here is what to the original one? StringBuilder, okay, it's S2, is it? So over here in this case, so this is stack memory. This is heap. This is stack. And we have that main. And then we have that S2 is hello world. Hello world. Is it? Okay, so this is argument S2. S2 is it argument? Is it argument? So it's also pointed to here. Is it? And this is StringBuilder. StringBuilder has a method called append. So what is the append then? It's just append that welcome in this memory. So the memory block got expanded. They add with this new string welcome. Is it? But the box is still here, and the S2 still pointed to here. That's why the second time we see this, then it's the welcome get added. Okay, get appended. So over here, this does, oh, not this one. This S2 does get changed. Okay. And that's a StringBuilder. StringBuilder also has a method called toString. It can convert it to string S. Okay, to string S. So you can convert it back and forth, whatever inside the StringBuilder, the contents, to a string S. Okay, and here we check if it is an instance of string class. And we can take a look. So it does. Okay, it does got added. So append does work, is it? And it is the, if you call that toString, it did get the class. And then what next to try to show is a string buffer. A string buffer, the usage is pretty similar. Okay. So it's just regarding synchronization. And here we have the concatenate 3. So for the concatenate, the same thing as you call append, is it? And the result output, if we take a look, it's a still get appended. So both StringBuilder so the requested, not request, so the out, oh my God, where did I? So the, over here, yeah. So we have StringBuilder and the string buffer. Is it? Both of these two classes are mutable class. Because they are mutable class, so they have set method. And what? They also have, they have set method, so it's mutators. Contains mutators. Is it? So they can change. So if your application deals with a lot of string handling, then you can use a StringBuilder or string buffer first to do appending or deleting, erasing. And after you complete all of those operations, you just call the toString. Convert it back to a string object. Okay, so that you won't, each time you get a memory block allocated, is it? We won't have this. And everything for StringBuilder, string buffer, it's just working on that single memory block. Okay, so that saves a lot of garbage collection. Okay. So that's regarding StringBuilder and the string buffer. And we can also take a quick look at the library one, the documentation. Do we have? I forgot to have that StringBuilder, string buffer. But anyway, over here it also shows us the string class. Okay, string class also from Java language. Package, okay, and list a bunch of string related method, okay. Let's get back to our example. And what is the last part for this example? Try to discuss is about Java regular expression, regex. This is a quite big topic, and we just cover a little bit. We give you some basic idea, and it's very helpful if you want to do some application development, especially focusing on string processing. Okay, so let's take a look first. So anyway, so this is a string. Is it a string? And here you call the split method, and you list. So over here we have the square brackets. Is it within brackets? You list all of the delimiter. Because if you just call split without giving anything, then it's using space as a delimiter by default. Is it here you said, okay, I want to use either comma or period, colon, semicolon, question mark. So any one of it, so you use a square bracket to include all of it. So any one of it will separate the word. So in this case, okay, comma is going to, so Java is going to get out. Question mark is, so C is going to get out. And comma again, so C# is going to get out. So then you have C++. Is it so? You're going to have all those words, but only delimited by whatever specified within the list. Is it like the C#, the sharp, and the pound sign and the plus, they are not within this list, delimit list, so they will still be considered as a single word. Is it? And we also know the split method returns what? Returns an array of string. Is it array of string? Okay. And then we can try to get, okay, say each of the tokens. So here we call it tokenization if you do the delimiter. Okay. And then we can get each of the word out. The Java C, you see, we get each word out. And then let's get back to our code. Okay, that's regarding string class is split method. Next, there are some other string related method. Okay, so one is called matches. This can do some pattern finding. So here it says, okay, if certain string contains the Java, but starting with the Java, okay, yeah, so this does have. And then later on for this one, so the pattern in this, it's Java, this dot represent a single character, and this multiply, this asterisk means repeat the previous single character pattern. You repeat it. Doesn't matter how many times. Okay. So then what this means, if you find some pattern starting with Java, after it you have some single character and can repeat a number of times. Okay. And then does this matches? Yes. Even space, is it? Yeah, it still matches. Okay, so you will see it is true. And the what next one still this, but this time the starting is not Java, so this will return false. Okay, return false. And then what next one, try to show the pattern let's see. This one is said, okay, the Java can be in the middle. So before it has some word, some character. After it can also take some character. Then say, oh yeah, this will work. So before you have some character, and after you also have some character. So this also will return true. Okay. So this is regarding regarding the matches. How do we use? And we can take a look. It is true, true, false, and true. And the next one is regarding. The next one is to do the equals check. Okay, and if you recall, for Java's the equals just care about contents, not a reference. Not a reference, okay, because this Java is in its box, this Java is in another box. Okay, so here you have a Java box, here you have another Java box. You have two, okay. You have two. And what this equals cares about is just the contents, both Java, both the two words. It doesn't care about the location. Okay, this two boxes locate at two different locations. So of course this returns true. Okay, what is the next one? Try to explain is using for the Java Regex. It also has package called Regex. It has matcher and pattern. Okay, you can also go ahead directly use that instead of use strings related method. So what over here? So anyway, so this is a string, very straightforward. And then you can first compile the pattern. So what this pattern is, you just find, okay, if Java following by some single word, is it 0 or 1 word or more than one after the Java, is it? And then here is this string, is it? And you try to find the match. And then you will see if you can find it true or false, is it? And this is more flexible than previous because this just the pattern. It's going to find if within the string it has a pattern, okay. And then we can find the running result. It says it's true, is it? It's true. So it doesn't care if this is the starting, is it? Because this clearly is in the middle, but this pattern, it means if it can find within this string of this specified pattern, then that's fine. So that's why here it says, okay, it's fine, it is true, okay. So it's more flexible. And then the last one, we are going to take a look at this filter. So with string, you can also do some validation or removing, is it? So what this one means is, okay, you try to replace all, okay. What this means is you replace. So this is A to Z. So this is a set. Within this set, A to Z, and here you have little head. So not including small case of A to Z. And then you have this group. It's capital case A to Z, but not include, okay? Not including. So exclude the that. So including not a small case, not a capital case. So basically none of the letters, okay? And you have the and, combine them, and the letter and the numbers. So if the string has any non-letter, so non-alpha numerical characters, you are going to replace it. You're going to remove it, basically, in this case. That's what this method try to do. Is it? Then if we have this result, is it? We can see what the result is. The result did remove all of the non-alpha numerical. Is it equal, plus, multiplication, space, all of them, they are removed. Okay, the last one is regarding reverse. Okay, so for this reverse, over here, I try to explain is for StringBuilder, it also has a reverse method. You can directly go ahead to use. Then you just convert it back to string, okay? And then let's see. Yeah, and then we can take a look if, so over here, you again call the equal, is it? And you want to check if, so S6 is the reverse version of this, is it? And if the original and the reverse are the same, then it's a palindrome. It's a palindrome, you can in order read and reverse order, it's the same, is it? Then in this, clearly it's not equal, is it? It's not a palindrome, so you will get a false. And here we also have this kind of, so this compare with contents, is it content? And this equal compare if these two are the same objects. We can clearly see the running result. The running result, they are not the same object, is it? It's false, okay. Okay, so this example we also complete. So basically this unit, we completed this